Okay, now let's talk about 5. 5 is the first number on the mental triad, 5, 6, and 7. And as you may recall, on each triad, one number projects out the core energy. Second number is dissociated from that energy. And a third number eats that energy, holds it in. 5 is the point on the mental triad that holds all the thinking in. Now, what does it mean to hold thinking in? It means you keep your thoughts to yourself. It means you're like noticing. Interesting. That's how that works. Oh, she said this, he said that. They don't agree. You don't go, hey, you disagree. You go, mental note. This is full of mental notes. 5s are, as mental types, seeking understanding, but very fascinatingly, they may or may not be interested in sharing that understanding. The inner world is very rich, not like the 4 inner life, which is rich with a lot of sort of earthiness and juiciness and weirdness. 5 is a more silent inner life, just as rich, but it's more elegant, you could say, more remote. 5s have a particular fragility. Even though 4 and 5 at the bottom of the Enneagram are both depressive, 5s, I think, have an additional fragility because 4s live in the world of emotion, and that gives a kind of resilience. 5s who live more in the world of the mind can be hurt more and be less resilient. So that's another reason why I keep to myself, just hold my cards, stay in here. The likelihood that someone's going to hurt me is reduced because they don't know me. And because if I do get hurt, I, Miss 5, will have a very hard time recovering. So there's a delight in withdrawal. But like all people, 5s want love and to be loved and to relate and so on. 5s are looking for the patterns. They're looking for the rationale. They're looking for the understanding. And there's an enjoyment of thinking things through in private that can be confounding to the rest of us. Like, don't you want to talk about it? Don't you want to share? Don't you want to write a paper on it or whatever? But no, content to just think about it. I am content with my company. And I can't really share robustly about my emotional experience because I don't have that language. There's a vast overgeneralization. There are many, many 5 artists, poets, therapists, rock stars who can certainly share, but there is a membrane, something between 5s and the rest of us that if you can get behind it, you should be very respectful and honored and frustrated because it's frustrating. Self-preservation 5 is called castle. Like, I am going to build my own world. I'm going to live in a castle. I'm going to build my own world. There's going to be a moat. I'm going to roll it up. I'm only going to roll it down for the people that I want to come in because that's how I'm going to feel safe. So self-preservation 5s, their home is their castle. This is my protected space. Don't friggin' come in here unless I invite you. 5s are like that in general. They don't want to just pop in on a 5 at home or at work or anywhere. Yeah, it's jarring. So if you live with a 5 and you're quarantining with a 5, and you may think, oh, this will be a great chance for us to talk more. Well, maybe. But you should give them fair notice. Like, let's have lunch and talk from like 1 to 2:30. And then I got something to do on Zoom at 2:30. I'll leave you alone. If a 5 knows, well, this is when our time together is going to start and this is when it's going to stop, they can invest just as fully as anyone. But if it's an open-ended togetherness that doesn't really have parameters, it's frightening, because 5 always wants to know, how am I going to get back in here? These are all vastly broad generalizations, but this is a short talk, so I'm just going to say things in a vastly broad way. Social 5 is called totem, Totem. They're looking for a totemic understanding of how the world works. So the Enneagram is a social 5 dream. It's a system. You can explain it. You can point to it. It's totemic. It makes social 5 very happy. Sexual 5 is called confidence. And that's not about they are confident. They may or may not be. It's about, I'm looking for one person who I can take into my confidence, who I can actually share things with. So at this time, pandemically, I'm sure there are 5s out there working on a cure, studying to their heart's content, looking for the patterns, looking for the understanding. And it's not just that all 5s are scientists, but 5s out there are wanting to make sense of this. We all do, but in such a way that if it happens again, these are the important things to know. So thank you, 5s. Thank you for being willing to think about what is most frightening in a cool and reserved way, so that you will not be clouded by emotion or ego sometimes, but instead will be trying simply to get to the point. We love you and appreciate you for that, and we need you. And if you are a 5 or you live with a 5, and you may be crowded at home together in a way that makes it hard for the 5 to get their private space, make an effort to acknowledge that, at least. If not, find a way to leave them lovingly alone. Talking style of 5 is called treatise, sort of making a case. How was your Enneagram talk? Well, it started out with the triads, it went to the subtypes, pointed out the foci of attention, and the point was so that you could have more compassion in everyday life. So it's kind of like a book reportish. So that's 5.